Alright everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I am Sean. This is In The Mixer as we continue our Football's Coming Home challenge with AFC Bournemouth. Super exciting episode today because it's the finish of our very first season in charge. I think regardless of what happens in this episode, it's been a fantastic season thus far. We will do a full season review and go over like all the achievements and accomplishments throughout the year, who's been like the top scorers, the best players, all that sort of stuff. But I guess the best place to start for this particular episode is to cover the match that we played off screen. Of course, in the previous episode, that 3-2 defeat in the semi-final of the FA Cup to Man City, which was really frustrating, kind of bummed me out for a good day and a half. Then we followed it up with a good 3-1 win against West Ham, albeit maybe they performed a little bit better and we were just more clinical. But then the world exploded in the game after. Watford, 2 days later, Ashley Barnes, Callum Wilson put us 3-1 to the good at halftime. 4-1 to the good at halftime after Delafeu had equalised early on. And I thought, the game's pretty much over. We do whatever we need to from there. We then made 2 subs in the 60th minute that brought them back into the game a little bit. Daryl Janmat goal made it 4-2, and then Troy Deeney made it 4-3 for a moment. And I won't lie, for a little bit, I thought they're going to get something out of this game. They're going to do that halftime comeback, which has been so frustrating a bunch of times throughout the course of the season. Ben Gibson with his first goal for the club, and then Danny Ings coming off the bench and getting another 2, plus a hat-trick goal for Callum Wilson from the penalty spot in the 97th minute of the game. A 7-3 win away from home. Absolutely insane. I didn't realise in the last match, but that West Ham game was our last home game of the season. So Dean Court's been fantastic for us throughout the course of the year. If you look through to a lot of our little green circles here, you can see that they've come at home games, which is great for us. And only a couple of like slight dark spots on there against Man United, against Leicester, against Chelsea. Like, good teams. You can't expect to win every single game, but to win the majority of them is super, super important. Which takes us to our revenge mission today. Man City, I desperately want to beat them. I know we've played them in a few different episodes. We've had an early season draw against them, which was really good. Biggest frustration for me, that FA Cup loss. I could have handled losing to their full strength side, but the amount that Pep Guardiola rotated was so frustrating. They're currently in inconsistent form, but they are losses, a 1-1 draw with Liverpool and then a 3-1 defeat to Liverpool to take them out of the Champions League at the semi-final stage. They will still have an FA Cup final to contend against Arsenal, but I do believe they're also out of the league title race at this stage. That one in itself is going to go down to the wire. Chelsea currently top, but Man United have a game in hand behind them and only 3 points behind with a superior goal difference. I can't see City in their last 2 games overtaking either of those teams. So that race is going down to the wire. The relegation race is pretty much finished. West Ham, Brighton and Swansea will all go down. Let's have a look at our team and how we're going to go. We are going to go attacking against them. We don't have anything to lose. We're not doing too badly in our race for 5th spot. So defeat today isn't going to crush us, but I would like to go out and actually kind of try as much as we can. So Butland in goal, as he has been throughout the course of the season. Mings and Cook at fullbacks, Gibson and Maguire in the middle, Lewis Cook and Andrew Sermon in midfield, Grealish on the right, Sessegnon on the left, though there is a slight difference. Jordan Ibe is on the bench and will make some sort of appearance today, probably just the last 30 minutes. And then Barnes and Wilson up top. Hopefully they can carry on some of their form into this game and we can get a decent result away at the Etihad and really put to bed their title hopes. So, slightly different team to the team we played in the FA Cup. Edison is back in goal. Laporte and company will be their central defensive partnership. Guy and Walker at the fullbacks. Fernandinho comes in at the halfback. Silva and De Bruyne as their 2 midfield playmakers. Sane on the left wing. Sterling on the right. Jesus up top. Doesn't look like there's any Sergio Aguero today. He might be injured, but Silva on the bench, Otamendi, Gundogan, Aspas, Delph, Danilo, and Claudio Bravo. They're a good team. They got a shit ton of depth, and we will have to be at our best to beat them. So I'm going to passionately say, no, a lot of you are keen to avenge what happened against Man City, and hopefully everyone responds well. Midfield has missed out, so I'm just going to say, I think there's a lot more to come from you. And we got a little bit out of Cook and Sessegnon, which is good. We're in the best possible position to qualify for the Europa League already. A win today would be enough for us. But it is very much up to Tottenham and Liverpool and Crystal Palace and Leicester to get maximum points in their game and hope that we slip up in both. So we're in the box seat. Even a draw actually would be enough for us to secure 5th spot and continental competition. Sermon and Cook now with the ball. It's a ball in behind. He's found Wilson. He's hung a ball up for Sessegnon, who gets his header back on, but Edison is equal to it. So decent first highlight of the game goes our way. If you think back to the FA Cup, we went a goal up inside the first minute. Lewis Cook with an absolute screamer, but it wasn't enough to get us through on the day. Butler now with a goal kick. Played up towards Barnes. Fernandinho gets in front and cuts it out. Gabriel Jesus, who was so good against us in that FA Cup game, finds Sane. It's a good tackle. Back to Butland again, who clears. Only as far as Walker, comes straight back in. And Butler comes out and claims the cross well. They get into these 2v2s with our forward two very quickly, but their fullbacks just, the movement between their transitions is absolutely phenomenal. Sterling coming forward now, finds Gabriel Jesus, who's gotten in behind, and he has found the finish. He's been the bane of my existence so far this season. Brilliant play by Sterling. To forget Sterling, Gabriel Jesus has skipped past fucking Harry Maguire about 10 times in the last few episodes. Sterling plays the ball in, and once he's in behind, there's no catching him. He's so quick. Butler comes out relatively well and dives for it, but Jesus is very, very, very good. So Man City have gone a goal up early on. It's a ball in here. Doesn't really beat the first man. Silva's going to come away with it. He's cleared up the line. I will be so frustrated. Oh, thankfully Mings gets there first, but he's coughed the ball up to Gabriel Jesus immediately. It's a ball back across. Sterling flicks it on to Sane, and Sane has put them 2-0 up inside 20 minutes. That is very frustrating. Let's change our tactic here and go to counter, just to see what happens. I haven't actually used that one that much this year, but obviously there are issues in our transitional phases if we're going to keep staying on attacking. Grealish just coughed up the ball to Gaia. Sane with the ball. Gaia with a fantastic overlapping run. And it's a ball towards Gabriel Jesus. We are 3-0 down inside 20 minutes. This is not the way that I wanted this game to go. Yes, we've got a lot of work to do. I know. I agree. It's a good overlapping run, and this is a great run from Gaia. They're complete wing-backs in this system. Absolutely fantastic. It's a good ball up, and there's 3 players and a goalkeeper in there. Someone's got to do better, and Jesus finds the finish. He's on course for a first-half hat-trick. Look at that. Look at that little 5-minute period with 3 goals in, or 3-minute period essentially with 3 goals in it. That is absolutely horrendous. But at least I know what my halftime team talk's going to be. I will absolutely fire the rocket at them, tell them all to get fucked, and then hopefully that sparks a bit of a response in them. Even with the defeat, we still have a superior goal difference to Tottenham, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, all those teams chasing us at the moment. We're actually up there amongst the teams that have scored the most goals in the competition so far this season. Barnes with the ball now, looks for Wilson. He's got Sessegnon on the overlap if he can find him. Fernandinho reads the ball fantastically well, cuts it out and goes back to Edison in goal. It's a long ball forward. Sane somehow controls it at a dead stop. De Bruyne and Silva just retaining possession tremendously well. Played forward to Jesus now. He's tackled by 3 of our players. All the way back to Butland. Sterling's going to recover the ball for Man City here. Played forward to De Bruyne. To Silva now. Ball in behind for Kyle Walker, and he has scored from seemingly a dead angle. What has gone on there? He didn't mean it, but Jack Butland, who's been fantastic throughout the course of the season, may have had an absolute nightmare on this one. Fernandinho, Silva. It's a right-footed ball in behind, and then I swear this is a cross. And I don't know what's happened. It looks like Jack Butland went out to kick it. Oh, what is going on? This is depressing. Getting flashbacks to that Burnley game at the start of the season. We're going to sandwich what has been a really good year with the shittest first episode of the season, losing to United and Burnley, with this game where we are 4-0 down inside the first half, and Jack Butland's just put that in a super dangerous area. We are still trying to come forward a little bit. Wilson with Cook on the overlap. Sessegnon's out on the left wing. There's men in the middle if he can find them. Wilson's there. Grealish with the follow-up, and it is a great save from Edison, to be fair. Guy hacks that ball away. 4-0 down inside the first half. That is absolutely pathetic, considering how good we've been in such good form. Sessegnon back to Mings now from the throw-in into Cook. It's a ball across. Barnes is going to recover. Just slow down, Ashley. We don't need you to do anything. You're turning away from your trouble. Oh, Wilson's gotten him behind. He's somehow still onside, which is... wish he had a shot. Company now tidies up very well. It's a long ball forward towards Jesus, who's running at 4 of our defenders, and he's skipping past all of them. And we're 5-0 down inside the first half. We have been absolutely destroyed by Gabriel Jesus. He's got a first half hat-trick. Holy shit. I thought this was going to be our highlight. And have a look at this. There's 4 defenders. The width is all wrong there from Tyrone Mings. Needed to tuck in, and he just skips past everyone. Jack Butland maybe could have done a bit better. 5-0 down at halftime. That's not how I wanted this episode to go. I'm going to be completely honest. And I'd kind of think that Burnley's our bogey team, but Man City are just absolutely fucking destroying us. I expect to see a much better showing from you. Aggressive for a run. Andrew Salmon switched off. He can go and get fucked. He's a player I'll probably look to replace in the off-season. He's been great this year, don't get me wrong, but he'll be 33, I think, by the time the next season starts. So maybe just make him like the backup player and bring in a better deep line playmaker. There's a couple about the place, but we'll go through them in the next episode. Holy shit. Gabriel Jesus with a hat-trick, Sane with a goal, Walker with a cross that has somehow ended up with a goal. Alright, so you guys have missed this portion because my camera died on me, but Walker with a deep ball in, Jesus goes up, it's Sane with the follow-up, it's a great save from Butland, and Gabriel Jesus has his 4th goal of the game. We are getting absolutely ravaged. So, if we're going to go down, let's at least go down swinging, and we'll go back to attacking. Grealish and Sessegnon are both having poor games, so I'm going to bring on Pugh on the left and Ibe on the right. At the back, whatever, it is what it is. Sam's not having a good game, so let's give Dan Gosling some time as well and confirm those changes. This is not how I wanted to go into the last game of the season, nor is it how I wanted our last episode of the season to go. I would have loved to have gotten to 20 wins. That would have been a phenomenal return, I think. But it looks like we're not going to make it. Even with a victory in our next game against Crystal Palace, we will only have 19. Jesus now with a strike from distance, and thankfully he proves that he is human. He'd have to be on a perfect 10. He's only on a 9.8. I don't know what more he could have done in this game. Look at some of these match ratings for them. That is as thorough a domination as I could ever see. We don't have anybody in 5 territory. Even when Sessegnon came on, it was with a 6. So we're not the worst team in the world, but my God, this Man City squad is absolutely phenomenal. Bernardo now, the deep ball in. Fernandinho with the header. It's hit the bar and somehow gone away. I don't know how that physics would work on that one. Holy shit. Pep Guardiola isn't better than me. Not a football manager anyway. But, like, an absolute destruction. Gosling now with a strike, and that one is over. So we're not even going to get a backup goal. The referee's called full time. A 6-0 defeat to Manchester City away at the Etihad. That, not happy. They should know that. So what's that do to the league table? So we're still 3 points ahead of Tottenham. It would take a defeat in the next game against Crystal Palace and a pretty heavy goal difference swing for us to lose our grip on 5th spot and automatic qualification for the Europa League group stages. So again, magic of editing, let's jump forward to the Crystal Palace game. Alright, so jumping back in real quickly because we've been offered a new contract by Jeff Mostyn. And you see here, expectations top half, transfer budget and wage budget stay the same pretty much. Possession football, that is the one that I want to get rid of. So, I want to discuss removing one of the club philosophies I'm expected to fulfill. I don't want to commit to playing possession football. I don't have any other changes to propose. If you agree to signing a new contract, we are willing to implement your suggested changes. Talks can begin immediately. Yes. So they previously offered me a contract, and I said remove that one thing. That was all I asked for, and they said no. And now he's come back in, probably about 8 weeks later, and willing to offer me a contract where they're removing that one. So I'm going to take next to no money, 10k a week. I don't have any need for the money, but I'm going to try and add on 2 more years and see if they're willing to do that. And they're very happy with that. So 4-year contract, 10k a week. It's not a lot for them. Top half, I can do top half. If we've got the squad we've got currently and we're making Europa League football, like give me 4 more seasons, I'll get us to the Champions League. No dramas at all. Maybe not win the league, but Champions League for sure. And the chairman's delighted that I've signed a new deal. I'm pretty excited to have signed a new deal. 4-year contract extension. Takes me all the way through to 2022. We probably won't get to that far in this series before the release of FM19, but at least we know we have everything sorted out and we're at least secure in this position, and I'm not super worried about getting the sack. Though by taking less wages, I've just realised, I'm probably more likely to... They're not going to care so much about the financial impact of sacking me early on in that contract. But the exciting portion is if we go to our board security here, you can see I'm pretty much untouchable. There's no major criticisms, even though I just lost 6-0. And the team's performance in the league has been fantastic. And if we go to club philosophies, which was way down here prior to me signing the contract, summary, no club philosophies. So that is absolutely fantastic. We have removed one of the biggest sticking points in the current setup at Bournemouth by getting rid of that possession football instruction. It's not that I don't like keeping possession, it's just the way that we're set up and the formation we're playing doesn't really kind of line up with holding the ball for a long, long time. Delighted to have signed a new deal, absolutely loving it. Now let's carry on to the last game of the season. Oh, here we go, and it's highlighted even before going into the last game of the season. We've qualified for the Europa League, so even a defeat today would be enough. And if we look back throughout the course of the season, some of the ones they've highlighted here, the 7-3 win against Watford off screen a couple of weeks ago, comfortable 5-0 humbling of Liverpool, a 3-1 win versus Arsenal, and a 4-0 win over Newcastle. So we've had some great, great results. Interestingly, the Bournemouth players have refunded any of the away fans that went to the 6-0 drubbing at Man City, 45k, so credit to them. And Jack Butland is the hero in that particular instance, paying them back for their loyalty. But yeah, we were horrendous in that game. Okay, and just like that, we're a week ahead. Let's have a look at the team that we're going to go with here. It's pretty consistent with what we've done in the last couple of weeks. Going to go with Butland in goal, Mings and Cook as our fullback options. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take off Tyrone Mings and I'm going to play Charlie Daniels. I don't think Charlie Daniels will be back next season. I think we are going to get rid of him. Everton are currently sniffing around. We've also got Crystal Palace, who we're playing today, looking at Dan Gosling, and Stoke looking at Adam Smith. If we can cash in on those three players, I wouldn't be shattered. Let's put it that way. We are going to have to get rid of a few players before we bring anyone in. We do have a decent transfer budget to work with, but that will be a focus of the next episode, the season review and the pre-season planning episode that we do. Gibson and Maguire as our two central defenders here. Gibson's progression from being like, a kind of average championship defender to now being a pretty solid Premier League option has been fantastic, and I love having that left-footed balance out there. Cook and Sermon as our two midfielders. Probably the last time we'll see Sermon as a key player. I think Cook's progression has been fantastic this year. We're going to go with Sessegnon on the left. I'm going to bring Jordan Ibe back in for the last game of the season. He's been fantastic for us throughout the course of this year. His average rating is right up there. I think he's still leading us in terms of assists despite spending a considerable amount of time out injured. Super unlucky from my perspective. I think if he had stayed fit, he'd be playing in the England squad at the moment. And of course, Barnes, who's currently second in the division in the leading scorer or Golden Boot race. He's about 5 or 6 behind Sergio Aguero, I think, so he'd need a massive day today to get anywhere near it. But Wilson, our talisman up front, will it be enough to get us past Crystal Palace the last day of the season? We have locked in Europa League football, which is absolutely fantastic. To do it ahead of time and ahead of the last game of the season is brilliant. And we're actually going to see one of the key challenges when we started this series was going out and representing England in continental competition, and to get it after the first season is absolutely fantastic. Looking at the Crystal Palace side here, Hennessy in goal, Rijderveld and Fosu-Mensah as the fullbacks, Sacco and Tompkins as their central back partnership. Cabaye and MacArthur will hold midfield, Loftus-Cheek in at the number 10 spot, Zaha on the left wing, Puncheon on the right, Benteke up front. Some decent players they've got on the bench as well, so they're pretty much safe in their positions as well. I don't think they can overlap ourselves or Tottenham anymore, and I'm just going to say assertively, we are the favourites for a reason. Go out and make sure they're left in no doubt. Ashley Barnes, for whatever reason, has switched off. I'm just going to calmly tell him, pressure's off, I want you to go out and play a natural game. He's still switched off, it is what it is. But I'd love to finish the season on a little bit of a positive. For whatever reason, they're wearing their home kit, which you wouldn't think would clash with our black and red stripes, but for whatever reason, we're wearing our blue away kit for the last game of the season, despite blue being a pretty key component of theirs as well. Hennessy with the long ball forward now. Daniels goes up and wins the header. Fosu-Mensah back into Cabaye, switches it out to the left-hand side to Zaha. Benteke holds the ball up. Benteke. Puncheon, he's gotten in the box now, and from about 4 yards out, you would have hoped Butland had come out a little bit bigger and a little bit quicker than that. And 6 minutes in, we are already a goal down. It's not bad play from Crystal Palace, but it's not good play from us either. And frustratingly, it's Charlie Daniels, who we brought in to give him a bit of a farewell game, who has struggled to track Jason Puncheon there. Not a criticism, because I know Tyrone Mings has done that a whole bunch as well, but you got to wonder what would have happened if it was the other player out there. Wilson now in a bit of a counter-attack for us. Barnes is in the middle, but Wilson strikes from the edge of the area, and it wasn't really ever on. And that one's high, wide, and not so handsome. All right, Fosu-Mensah with a throw-in now, goes to Cabaye. It's one back by Charlie Daniels. Wilson with a long ball forward. Sacco cuts it out well and goes back to Hennessy. Long ball forward towards Benteke, who tries to play in Zaha. Wilson will challenge from the clearance. We've seemed to have... so I'm not sure if we've actually struggled against it or if it's just because every fucking team plays a 4-2-3-1. But a lot of the goals we've conceded have been against 4-2-3-1 systems. We're coming forward there for a moment. Maguire does well against Benteke in the air, but it's only as far as Kabay. They've played a ball in behind for Zaha, who squares it to Benteke, and thankfully it's the Liverpool version of Benteke, not the Aston Villa one, who puts that one straight at Jack Butland. So as things currently stand... Crystal Palace leading this game would put them up into 6th spot and into Europa League football. It would drop Tottenham out. So long ball forward now. Charlie Daniels will go up. It's only as far as Fosu-Mensah and back to Kabay, who's pulling all the strings down there at the base of midfield. Zaha's gotten him behind. It's a good strike and Butland's equal to it. I was critical of Butland after the first goal, but he's pulled off a couple of decent saves now. Ball's pinballing around in there, and I think it's Benteke who actually gets the final touch on it. Yes, we are getting carved apart far too easily. I agree. Let's just go to standard until half-time, and then we'll go back to attacking at the half-time break. So it's a ball up here. I think it's Fosu-Mensah who kicks the ball forward, and it might have been Daniels, again, who struggled to clear that one, and Benteke pokes it home. Looks like half our backline's already on their pre-season. Looks like half our backline's already on their winter season break, which is a bit disappointing. Lewis Cook with his 8th yellow card of the season. Kabay with a free kick there. Goes straight over the top, thankfully. We're getting shots on goal, but they're too far out to be a regular threat. This has not been a great episode. Lewis Cook has been booked. I don't care. He can stay out there. That's fine. Everybody looking pretty frustrated. Zaha's been their best player far and away, even though he only has 1 assist. Aggressively, let's say... You're much better than this, but you're not playing like it. Some players have responded well. You have the ability to make a difference. You have the ability to make a difference. You have the ability to make a difference. Okay, so it hasn't worked to try and get Maguire and Sessegnon back on side. What we might also do is switch back to attacking and start the second half. Steve Cook on the right-hand side is not doing too well. But, as always, we'll give it to about the hour mark because I'm a creature of habit. I've got to keep doing the things I keep doing. And nothing doing out of that first highlight. Man City have come from nowhere to jump to the top of the league. Holy shit. There's all kinds of craziness going on the last day of the season around the grounds. So at half-time, Man City would be winning the league, level with points with Chelsea and Man United. That's pretty fantastic. So Benteke and Zaha came forward there, and it was a good save from Butland. I was busy getting distracted by the other things that were happening around the grounds. They are taking a shit ton of time. Looks like Benteke's gotten himself injured. He's picked up a knock. Take him off then, physio. If he's injured, he's injured. Kabay's standing over the free kick. This is taking fucking forever. We're really going to have to sit here and watch this? Watching him slowly carry Benteke off? Ridiculous. And nothing came of it anyway. So what was the point of that? Sort yourself out. Alright, we're getting towards the hour mark. I'm going to wait and see what this highlight does and then make a decision on substitutes from there. Kabay plays a simple ball forward to Benteke. Some of the marking here has been absolutely horrendous. It's a good save and Daniels hooks that one away. Alright, let's go to our tactics. Let's pause the game here. Pause the game. Okay, Gibson and Maguire are struggling. Cook is struggling, so let's go with Francis as the fullback support option. Jordan Ives not having a good game, so let's bring on Jack Grealish, who seems to have kind of taken hold of that position. And for the last one, I might hold on to the last one. So we're changing our right-hand side. Let's give team talk here and say passionately, you have the ability to make a real difference. They've both responded really well, which is good. I don't know why the morale's so poor. And let's hit play. So currently City on top, 85 points. Man United, 85 points as well, but in second. And Chelsea drop down to third place despite having 85 points as well. Looking around the grounds, United are 1-0 up at Watford. Chelsea are drawing 0-0 with Newcastle, so they could win it if they get a result in that match. And it looks like City have already played. So my assumption is that it's going to be City or Chelsea if Chelsea actually find a winner against Newcastle. So super exciting stuff going on around the grounds in terms of the title race. So Francis and Grealish will come on. Cook and I will drop off to the bench. We immediately have a highlight. Grealish to take the corner. It's headed away, only as far as Sermon, who switches it back out to the left-hand side where Grealish is. He plays it to Sessegnon, who's going backwards with the ball. Just play it back to Daniels. He does now. Sessegnon again. He's got Grealish out here. Can he find a ball in? No. Instead, he's coughed it up. One wins it back. Barnes with the ball, who gives it away to Kabay. That is a horrible passage of play there. Benteke comes forward. Loftus-Cheek with a decent overlapping run, and thankfully Butland comes out and holds that ball for the save. They're starting to make subs now. Benteke, who picked up a knock, has come off. Simon Francis picked up his 4th yellow of the season. Kabay now with a free kick. Is this going to be a counter? Zaha at the top of the box. It's a decent strike. It's pinballing around, and MacArthur, thankfully, gets a strike away, but it hits an offside player. All right, 20 minutes remaining. Let's make our last change. It's going to be... give Sermon a bit of a farewell. We'll give Jermaine Defoe some time as the advance forward. Let's also push to overload. And let's also move our fullbacks to be attacking. Alright, let's go with that one. So it's a last little attack for us. 20 minutes to go. Can we do anything dramatic for the end of the season? Punch on immediately has a free kick. It's going to get headed away. No. Loftus-Cheek on the follow-up, but Butland comes out and holds that one without any real dramas. Still got the ball now. It's a long one forward. Tompkins tidies up. Barnes has an overlapping runner on the right. Grealish has got the ball now. Can he square it back up? It's a decent strike on goal, and Hennessy pushes that one over. It'll be Grealish to take the corner. Can he beat the first man? Because he never fucking beats the first man. He does not. Does not beat the first man. We need to find a corner taker. Maybe that'll be part of our discussion on who we get in as that deep-lying playmaker on the defender instruction. There are a couple of players that we're going to have a look at. All right, Grealish now with a free kick. It's in. Sessegnon goes up and Hennessy comes out and holds the ball well. 10 minutes remaining. Let's use a shout, because why not? Push forward. We have been better in the second half, but certainly not the better side across the 90 minutes thus far. Zaha is having a phenomenal game. 8th yellow card of the season for Harry Maguire. It's a good tackle here from Simon Francis, but Sermon loses the ball immediately. They go all the way back to the base of midfield. Loftus-Cheek now, a good weighted pass in behind, and that is 3-0. This has not been a great episode. First episode of the season, concede 9 goals to Manchester United and Burnley. Last episode of the season, concede 9 goals to Crystal Palace and Manchester City. I mean, there's a certain... It's poignant to bookend the series that way, but it makes us look so shit. Because if you take those 2 games out, where we got absolutely destroyed, our goal difference is pretty phenomenal. Hennessy with the long ball forward now. It's flicked on. We're in extra time. I dare say that's it. And the referee calls full time. Not the way that I wanted the season to end. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think some of our players, after we got kicked out of the FA Cup, maybe already switched off and started booking holidays in Tenerife or wherever it is that they go. A 3-0 defeat to Crystal Palace to finish the season. I'm just going to walk out. I'm not going to say anything. I'll see them I'll see them when they come back in June for pre-season. So we do finish the season in 5th spot, which I do think is a phenomenal result. If you had turned around and said to me at the start when we began this series, you're going to finish above Liverpool, Tottenham, Leicester and Everton, finish in 5th spot, get yourself European football and win 18-year games, I would have taken it. It's just more frustrating given where we were positioned at the start of this episode and how many points we actually could have gotten. So you can see there is a clear gap between the top 4, or really the top 3. Chelsea, with a late show, absolutely tore Newcastle apart in the second half to win themselves the title. So congratulations to them. City finished the season in 2nd spot after beating West Ham 4-2. And United finished in 3rd despite leading the competition for pretty much the entire season, which is amazing. A bit of a gap then until Arsenal in 4th spot, and then a gap again of 13 points to us in 5th. Look at how tight this is. 61 points, 60, 59, 58, 56, 52. Like, a lot of players within that 10-point gap range, or a lot of decent teams in that 10-point gap range. So that brings the curtain down on the Premier League season. I think we've done absolutely fantastically for our first year. Made it to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, the League Cup, whatever it is what it is. But some of the results we've had have been absolutely fantastic. What I'm going to do is we're going to come back in the next episode, do a bit of season review, have a look at some of the players that performed really well, some of the players that will probably look to move on, and identify some transfer targets as well. And then we'll go from there. More than anything though, I hope you guys have really enjoyed the season so far. Please put a like on this video if you've enjoyed our first season in the Football's Coming Home Challenge. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date on new videos as when they come out. Or alternatively, you can follow In The Mixer FM on Twitter. There will be a link in the description below. I hope whatever song we're finishing season 1 in is an absolute bagger. It'll probably be Cherry Lips by Garbage because I've been holding on to that one for a couple of weeks. But as always, I've been Sean, and I will see you in the mixer.